All right, Corey, you realize 75 years since the end of the Second World War. There's not too many veterans still around from World War II, and we all need to do our part to keep it front and center. Sometimes, though, we fall into the trap of thinking that Remembrance Day is about the veterans from the World Wars, but it's so much more than that. It's really about remembering and paying tribute to all veterans of any war, including those that have recently done tours of duty overseas. And to talk a little more about this, we are very, very proud to have or to hear what the federal government is doing. And we have our Member of Parliament for Lac-St-Louis, Mr. Francis Scarpaleggia, on the line. Welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's very nice to be with you today.
Well, thanks for taking some time on a Sunday. I know you are extremely busy, and we do appreciate you doing this. So, Francis, Remembrance Day, as I was just mentioning, it's about all veterans and remembering the men and women that have served no matter what era, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's all about commemorating sacrifice and paying homage to those who do things for others, who, in terms of protecting us and defending our freedom and, keeping the peace.
So we do this every year. We hope that people will get involved and support the cause. I have to ask you that this year, given the pandemic, how have you been managing? What have been some of the challenges?
Well, it is a very different situation this year. Normally, I would attend maybe 4 or 5 ceremonies, wonderful ceremonies, all of them. There is always a very moving ceremony at Pointe Claire City Hall around their cenotaph, and at Heroes Park in Beaconsfield, which is a wonderful location, which pays homage to veterans and also first responders. The Field of Honor, which is a space in the West Island that I know many people know about, but I think many people do not yet know about, even though it's been there for so long. It's a cemetery for veterans in Pointe Claire, just off the 20, and they have a wonderful ceremony on November 11th at 11 o'clock. So this year, obviously, we cannot gather, which has changed things. But in a certain way, I find, despite that disappointment, the current situation for me, I don't know if others feel the same way, but it has allowed me to connect with Remembrance Day in a different way because so many people have said about this pandemic that it's the first time since World War II where we've had to come together as a nation in solidarity to combat a challenge, really, to take up a challenge and combat this common enemy, really, which is the pandemic. So I think it's making people think about, it's made me think about what it must have been like on the home front in the Second World War when people did have to come together and to support our troops overseas, but they had to make sacrifices, and life wasn't easy at home.
Sacrifices is right. That's Federal MP for Lac-St-Louis, Mr. Francis Scarpaleggia, here on Life Unrehearsed with Corey and Matt, and we're commemorating our veterans on Remembrance Day. And Francis, I know it must be particularly challenging for you because you are a man that is out there. You work extremely hard and being out in the public, and must be a little frustrating. But I know you're finding your ways to get the word out. And can you speak on behalf of the federal government here in terms of what is the federal government doing to commemorate our vets?
Well, the ceremony that takes place in Ottawa at the War Monument in Ottawa will be going ahead, I'm told, but with much fewer numbers, and the public really is being asked to stay away from the downtown core. Someone told me that the streets will not be blocked off as they normally are. So, it will be marked as usual, but in a more limited sense. And, what's interesting is this week in the House of Commons calendar is always what they call a break week or a riding week every year because, MPs have to be in their ridings to commemorate the Remembrance Day and take part in ceremonies. But the week before, the Thursday or Wednesday or sometimes Friday before that week, the party leaders or their representatives get up in the House and read statements. So that's been taking place as usual. This year, the government actually provided a new commemorative pin to World War II veterans. It's based on the original Victory nickel, which is a coin that was circulated from 1943 to 1945. The government is going ahead in many different ways. The Veterans Affairs Canada website is a wonderful place to visit, and you can hear stories of veterans and from veterans, and so there's many ways to commemorate, of course, and I'm certain the news coverage will also allow us to focus on what it all means.
So that's so important, and some very helpful ways in which helping us understand what it is you're doing. Let's put it out to our listeners. How can listeners help support all of these initiatives and the veterans in general?
Well, that's a very good question. I think there are so many ways that we can mark this day and we can support our veterans. Of course, it's so important to buy that poppy. I know it's a small gesture, and even though it helps financially with our legions and so on, it's not really about financial support. It's about moral support. So wear the poppy proudly, and so that people know that you care to commemorate Remembrance Day. There's also, I think it's important to help our youth connect with what this all means, and there's so many ways to do it. I know teachers can help in this regard by talking about the war and so on and so forth. Read In Flanders Fields to your kids. And I know that was one of the first connections I had as a child in school to Remembrance Day was having to memorize In Flanders Fields. And if you have any young hockey fans in your household, just tell them that a verse from In Flanders Fields is inscribed in the Canadians dressing room. And if you have some football fans in your house, tell them how the Montreal Alouettes got their name, which was named after the 425th Royal Squadron of the Royal Canadian Air Force.
So true, Francis.
So there's so many ways.
It's so true, and especially the young. I love what you're bringing up about them. There's some excellent posts on social media where younger generations are trying to get the word out as well, even feeding veterans. So excellent points. We're already running out of time here. We want to thank you very much for taking a little time on your Sunday, and we appreciate all that you do for us.
Well, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
All right. That's Mr. Francis Scarpaleggia, a member of Parliament for Lac-St-Louis. Coming right up after traffic, we are going to be blessed with hearing from a 97-year-old veteran from the Second World War.